I'm not coming back. I just want to quit. We're here now. For me, it was the best of both worlds. OBGYN attending. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is gonna be one that is highly requested. And this is why I chose to become an OBGYN. In case you're new here, I am Dr. Allie. I'm an OBGYN, and here on my YouTube channel, I share everything with you. We talk about pregnancy and periods and vaginal births and inductions and what that looks like. And I also share bits and pieces of my life, my journey as an OBGYN. I have vlog videos, taking you to the hospital with me, stuff like that. So I get asked multiple times over and over and over, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, or even here on YouTube, why did I decide to become an OBGYN? Out of all of the fields of medicine, really, OBGYN, that's what I wanted to do. And the answer is pretty simple. Yeah, it is. So today I'm gonna give you my top 5 reasons as to why I decided to become an OBGYN. I'm also gonna talk about how I got here. Where did I go to undergrad? What did I major in? How long did this whole process take? I'm gonna share everything with you today. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and become part of this family. I would love for you to join my little corner of the internet. I love you guys. You are my people. You get me. So hit that subscribe button. Let's go to the little intro. Dun, 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 dun. Before I share with you my 5 reasons as to why I wanted to be an OBGYN, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a backstory because people ask me all the time, did I always know I wanted to be a doctor? So yes and no. Obviously as a child, we are extremely creative and we want to be so many different things. For a long period of time, I wanted to be a fashion designer. I loved playing with my Barbies. I would make sketches of dresses, but on the flip side of that, I always really liked science and medicine. Now my love for science and medicine comes from my dad. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it here on my YouTube channel, but my dad is also a doctor and he is a vascular surgeon. So from a very early age, we were really exposed to pretty much all things medicine. Obviously, my dad would come home in his white coat and his scrubs. He would tell us all of his stories from patients and surgeries that he would do. And I saw how passionate my dad was and how much my dad loved what he did, how proud he was. I remember my dad getting so many awards and ceremonies in his honor, and every time we would meet anyone that my dad worked with, they would just brag about how awesome he was, and that just gave me so much pride and it made me more interested in the field of medicine. Along with that, my dad would also take us to work. I have 2 older sisters, so he would take all of us to work to watch him do surgeries. So back in the day in his hospital, there would be like an observation, I guess, room where you could actually look down and watch a surgery. As a little kid, we would go and watch my dad do surgery. Now, my sisters weren't really that interested. Sometimes they would even faint and pass out, but I was the one that was always a little bit more curious and asking my dad more questions. And I think that's when my dad first noticed that maybe one of his daughters would go into medicine. Like I mentioned before, I had a lot of interest. I loved medicine and I could see myself doing that, but I also loved fashion and design and makeup. My parents never really forced us to study anything, but as I kept getting older and it was time to go to college, I realized that science and medicine was something I wanted to pursue. So I applied to college. I only applied to one university. I applied to the University of Arizona. I am the youngest of 3, and my 2 older sisters were at U of A, and there was no doubt in my mind, I didn't want to go anywhere else. I wanted to go where my sisters were going so that I could stay close to them, and obviously I thought they were super cool, and they sold me on U of A, so I applied to U of A, I got in, and I went there for undergrad. Now, undergrad was honestly the best 4 years of my life. I met some of my best friends there. College is such an amazing experience. Obviously, for me, it was the first time where I was out on my own, had all of this freedom. I had to, quote unquote adult. I wouldn't say it's real adult. What I'm doing now is adulting. You know, you had to figure it out. How to do laundry, how to cook and eat and make new friends. And I mean, U of A is a huge school. It was a lot of responsibility at once, but I absolutely loved college. I majored in physiology and I minored in chemistry, and I also minored in German language. Now, being Puerto Rican, I'm already fluent in Spanish, and obviously I'm fluent in English. We had to take a language course through U of A, and my older sister did Japanese, the middle one did Italian, and I said, why not German? It sounds like fun. And I loved it. I studied abroad in Leipzig, Germany, and it was, again, an amazing experience. If you have the opportunity to study abroad, 100% you need to do it. It is life-changing. It will teach you so much about different cultures, different people. Oh, just the traveling. Please just take my word, study abroad. So I did 4 years at the University of Arizona. Being a science major and specifically physiology, a lot of my friends and a lot of people that were in my major, their goal was to also go to medical school. I would say traditionally for medical school, most people take the MCAT, that is the entrance exam that you have to take to apply to medical schools. Most people take the MCAT their junior or senior year of college. I did not do that. I was not your traditional med student. Now, the reason I decided not to take the MCAT while I was an undergrad was because I remember doing the Kaplan prep course for the MCAT, and I was finding it really hard to actually give attention to my major, to the classes, to organic chemistry and physics and all of that, and study for the MCAT at the same time, and still have time to socialize, you know, figure out who I was as a person in my early 20s. So I decided to postpone that, graduate with my degree, and then have time to actually dedicate 100% to studying for the MCAT. So I graduated from U of A. I took another course to prepare myself for the MCAT, and I got a job. So in that year, I was fully focused on studying for the MCAT. I moved back in with my parents, and I got a job doing clinical research. I loved the way I did it. I think getting the job in clinical research actually also helped set myself apart when I was applying to medical school. My job doing clinical research, I pretty much worked in phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials where a new drug was going out on the market. We would give that drug to subjects or people who willingly volunteer to be part of these studies, and then we would monitor them. I was in charge of taking their vitals, watching exactly what they ate, drawing their blood, and collecting the data. Now, I thought that experience was absolutely amazing, and I loved working for this company, but the end goal was to make it to medical school. So I eventually took the MCAT, and now it was time to apply to medical schools. I applied to a ton, pretty much all over the nation, because I didn't really mind where I would end up. I also applied to medical schools in Puerto Rico. Now, I was born in Puerto Rico, but moved to Arizona at a young age. Luckily, my parents would still take us back to Puerto Rico twice a year for summers, Christmas. Almost our entire family still lives on the island. But I always remember when I was little, I would say, one day I want to live in Puerto Rico. I want to move back, and I want to live in Puerto Rico. So when it was time to apply for medical school, I said, what the heck? I'm going to apply to the medical schools in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has 4 medical schools, in case you didn't know. Applied, submitted my application to medical school, and I started getting interviews. Now, I got a couple interviews in different states. I got interviews at the schools in Arizona, and I got called back for interviews in the school in Puerto Rico. Once I interviewed at the school in Puerto Rico, I knew that's exactly where I wanted to go. I knew it would be an amazing opportunity because the classes were taught in Spanish and in English, and I knew that being more familiar with medical terminology in Spanish would ultimately help my career. I got accepted into San Juan Bautista School of Medicine in Caguas, Puerto Rico. I'm gonna give you a quick breakdown of how things work. So med school is a total of 4 years. Your first 2 years are pretty much all studying, all books, you go to lecture, you take exams, blah, blah, blah. Your last 2 years of medical school are gonna be more clinical, meaning you're actually in the hospital during rotation. That's when you get exposed to all the different fields of medicine. You do rotations in internal medicine, pediatric, ER, OBGYN, general surgery. I mean, any field of medicine, you're going to rotate through it. How did I land in picking that I wanted to go into OBGYN? As I mentioned before, my dad is a vascular surgeon. So my exposure to medicine, like I said, I would go to work with him and watch him do surgery. As soon as I got accepted into medical school, my plan and my thought was surgery, surgery, surgery. I didn't want anything else. I was like, my mind is made up. I'm gonna do surgery. Joke's on me. That changed as soon as I did my OBGYN rotation. And honestly, not really jokes on me because I am still a surgeon as an OBGYN, but clearly I didn't go into general surgery. So I'll tell you exactly the moment I knew that I wanted to be an OBGYN. It was 3rd year of medical school, and I was doing my OBGYN rotation. I'd probably been doing the rotation for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and we were mainly just in the office seeing patients, doing pap smears, a little bit of ultrasound, stuff like that. Nothing crazy. Then one of the days, my attending gets called for a delivery. She was was like, all right, we gotta go deliver a baby, come with me. I had never been a part of a delivery up until that moment. Obviously I had studied it in medical school, I knew what things were, I knew how everything worked, but physically seeing a delivery with my own eyes, I had never done that before. So when we get to the room to do the delivery, my attending was like, gown up, you're going to do the delivery with me. I mean, in that moment I was like, what? Like, this is so cool. I put my gown on, I put my gloves on, and she let me deliver this baby. Obviously she was standing right next to me, walking me through exactly all the steps and the motions and what I needed to do, but I did my first delivery. In that moment, it was like, ah, like lights went off and I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. From that point on, I remember I'd go home, I'd go to bed, and I would be so excited to wake up and go to my rotation. Even though we had to be up really early to round and be at the hospital, I was excited. I was looking forward to it. Loved it. Everything was different. I was happy. And I knew that meant something. From that point on, I remember I called my parents and I was like, hey, I'm going to apply for OBGYN residency. This is what I want to do. I got accepted to the University of Oklahoma's residency program, and that's where I did my 4 years as an OBGYN resident. So let's do a quick recap of exactly what I did and how many years it took me to get to here. 4 years of undergrad at the University of Arizona, where I majored in physiology and I minored in chemistry and German language. 1 gap year where I worked in clinical research. I did 4 years of medical school at San Juan Bautista School of Medicine, and then I did 4 years of an OBGYN residency at the University of Oklahoma in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Then I graduated from residency, and here I am, an OBGYN attending. Now that you guys got a background story, and that took way longer than I intended it to be, but now I'm gonna share with you the top 5 reasons as to why I chose to be an OBGYN. Reason number 1, surgery. As I mentioned before, when I first went into medical school, my thought process was surgery, surgery, surgery. I wanted to do exactly what my dad did. I loved whenever I got to scrub with my dad. I love surgery. And as an OBGYN, I get to be a surgeon. I love operating. I think it's fascinating. The human body is so amazing, and the surgical aspect of OBGYN is what really sold it to me. I could still get to do my dream of being a surgeon, but I also have a whole nother side of being an OBGYN. For me, it was the best of both worlds. Reason number 2, office procedures. Now let me break this down. As an OBGYN, I still see patients in the office, and most of the times when I'm seeing patients in the office, it's not just like they walk in, we sit and chat. Granted, that does happen, but I get to do a lot of procedures, meaning that my day looks pretty different day in and day out. I do a lot of pap smears. I can do colposcopies in the office. I can do LEEP procedures. I can do hysteroscopies. These are all minor procedures that I can break up throughout my day. So I'm not just sitting at my desk, going in to see a patient, leaving the room, going in to see the other one. I get to be a little bit more active. I get to actually interact more with the patient and be more hands-on, which I really love. But it is kind of a perk for me to be able to kind of do something different day in and day out, patient to patient. There's some fields of medicine where you're simply just not as hands-on, and that's okay. I just knew that I definitely wanted something different because I'm very high energy, I guess you could say, and getting out of just like a set routine every single day, I really like. Reason number 3, deliveries. There is nothing I love more than delivering a baby. Whether it's a vaginal delivery or a C-section, there is just something so incredibly special, as I'm sure you can imagine, from getting to do a delivery, from getting to be a part of someone's really special day is so cool. You get to be a part of this very intimate moment for a couple who has never experienced this before. Their whole lives is about to change, and you get to be a part of that. You know, like it's huge, and it is truly an honor to get to be a part of that process. Oh, you guys, I love my job. Reason number 4, I love that I get to care for women at all different stages of their lives. I get to see teenagers where I sit with them and I get to explain to them what puberty is, changes that they can expect with their body, why we get periods, how periods work, an amazing opportunity to talk about birth control and talk about safe sex options, to talk about what it means to actually give consent to have sex, what sex looks like, and get to answer their questions about what they're feeling and masturbation and what's this and what's that, and to get to be a a part of that is amazing. And then you can follow that same patient to when she turns 21 and she's in for the first pap smear of her life. And then eventually that person becomes pregnant and you get to be a part of that. And you get to care for this patient for 40 weeks of their pregnancy. And then you get to deliver them and be part of that really intimate, special moment. And then you get to follow that patient throughout her life, changes that she's going through, personal issues. Honestly, sometimes I just sit with my patients and we talk. We talk like we're friends, because sometimes venting to someone who isn't either a family member or your best friend is really cathartic and feels really good. And I want to be that person for women. I want to help them through everything. Do they have a low sex drive? Are they feeling some type of way and they have questions? I want them to be able to rely on me for that. And then you continue to follow them through perimenopause and menopause. If you have questions about that, I do have a video on menopause and perimenopause. I'll link it down below. Such a cool thing to be able to be a part of someone's life through so many big milestones. Reason number 5 as to why I chose to be an OBGYN is that as an OBGYN, I definitely have opportunities to kind of change up what I do in my career. For example, right now I'm a full-time OBGYN, meaning I'm an obstetrician, so I take care of women throughout their pregnancies, I do their deliveries, I do their C-sections, I see them for their postpartum visit, etc. But I'm also a gynecologist, so I see a lot of woman exams, I do pap smears, I can tie a woman's tubes, I can do a hysterectomy, I can remove ovaries, I can take care of ectopic pregnancies, I can do ultrasounds, there's just so much in the scope that we can do. But say in 20 years, I still want to practice medicine, but maybe I want to slow down and I don't want to do as many deliveries. I can stop being an obstetrician and just solely do gynecology. Or maybe I end up not wanting to do gynecology anymore because I'm sick of doing surgery. So then I can only be an obstetrician. I just like that about the field as an OBGYN. I'm not locked in and like stuck in one area. I have options to change and do something different. All right, so those were my 5 reasons as to why I chose to be an OBGYN. And then obviously you guys got a little bit of the background story of what actually got me started into OBGYN. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Hope you guys can tell how truly passionate I am about being an OBGYN. I absolutely love my job. Sometimes work is really hard, really overwhelming. There's really, really bad days, but there's really, really good days. And I am truly just so honored that I get to do what I do and I get to interact with so many people in this amazing world, and obviously that I get to interact with you guys through YouTube. What I've learned is that your happiness means everything. You only have one life, so make sure in whatever career you find yourself in that you're happy. Now that doesn't mean you're gonna be happy every single day. I just said, sometimes I have really, really hard days where I'm like, I'm not coming back. I just wanna quit. Everyone has bad days. That's normal. But truly, truly in my core, I'm very happy with what I do. But thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much. You mean the world to me. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and become part of this family of my little corner of the internet. It would mean so much to me. And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I want to hear your guys' feedback. I want to hear what other topics you want me to cover or questions that you have. Even if it's something about my personal life and not necessarily medical, I would love to film it for you guys. I will leave all of my social medias linked down below. TikTok, Instagram, my blog. My blog I write in both Spanish and in English. I've been toying with the idea of making some YouTube videos in Spanish. If that is something that you guys would be interested in, or maybe like a Spanglish video, let me know. I would love to film something like that for you guys. All right, everybody, that is it. I love you guys so much. Remember to always be kind and show love to everyone around you. Have a great week. Bye.